Should you buy an electric Vespa? Let me tell you. First of all, this is not a Vespa. It's a Chinese-Indonesian joint venture Uwinfly T5, 2000 watts. But online on Shopee and Tokopedia, they refer to it as electric Vespa. In this video, I'm going to very quickly get to the point of basically how does this compare with a normal scooter from a cost perspective, speed perspective, stopping perspective, range perspective, storage perspective, build quality, battery, and then giving you my overall impressions. So first of all of the videos I saw were in Indonesian. They only talk about specs, like how many watts and all this other shit. It does not actually tell you about is this a good bike to buy or not. And everybody talking about what's good about it, but nobody's talking about what's bad about it. So let me get into those details. So, first of all, purchase price. Honestly, I would say 10 out of 10. You know, a new Honda Scoopy, which is the low-end vehicle here in Bali, is like 22 million. This is 13 million. Okay, so 40% less price. Now, in terms of cost of ownership, the claim is that this goes 60 kilometers on one charge. To do one charge is less than 2 kilowatts. Here in Bali, 1 kilowatt is like 1,500 rupiah. So we're talking 60 kilometers for 3,000 rupiah. Compare that to a gas engine, which a brand new Scoopy would do like 59 kilometers per liter, and 1 liter is like over 110,000. So we're comparing 3,000 versus 110,000 rupiah per kilometer. It's per 60 kilometer. But anyway, it's a really good deal. However, you need to understand one of the important parts of cost of ownership is the battery. So I watched all the videos on YouTube by all the Indonesians, people talking about, you know, in 6 months this crappy battery is going to be dead, you're going to need to buy a new battery. And some people claiming that a new battery is going to be like 50% of the cost of the entire vehicle. Now, I think that's exaggerating the truth. My research is it's like less than 40% or 35%. And, you know, I'm hoping it will last for more than 6 months. But still, overall, if you look at cost of ownership, there's no maintenance, there's no oils and filter changes and all that. The 40% discount when your initial purchase. I mean, I think from a cost perspective, this is a great deal. Next, let's talk about like the speed and the range. So a normal Scoopy, I mean, I was actually surprised. It's actually not that far distance. So you're gonna get like about 3 liters per the tank, and you're getting 60 kilometers per liter. So you're getting like maybe about 200 kilometers, maybe a bit more, maybe 220 or something. Again, the claim here is 60. I would assume you're only gonna get 50, but for just going like around in Canggu and stuff here in Bali, like it's totally more than enough. So I don't see any issue from a range perspective. In terms of top speed, you know, the cool thing about this vehicle is it's so quiet, and actually it makes me actually drive slower just because I'm relaxing and I'm enjoying stuff. But you know, sometimes when other scooters like look at me and I'm completely quiet and they think I have no power, they like try to zoom past occasionally. And so I occasionally go full blast, and you know, I can pretty much accelerate about their same speed. It's less, I would say about 20% less, but you're not at all going to be like feeling like outperformed or anything by having the electric scooter. Next, in terms of like top speed, I think they claim about 70 kilometers an hour. I think it's probably more like 60 kilometers an hour. So again, in Bali, in Canggu, like no big deal, but like, yeah, of course, if you're going on the freeway in Jakarta or something, yeah, you might have some issues. Next is, let's say, stopping and turning. So this bike stops amazingly well, like better than the rented Scoopies that I used to have or other vehicles. One of the reasons is the disc brake over here Um, it has a huge F in disc brake. So if you look over here, I'm gonna have to show you that a little later. Okay, hopefully you can see that now. So it has a huge up-and-disc brake up there, and it stops really good. There you can see it. So it is way better than the typical rented vehicle here in Bali. In terms of like turning radius, I would say it's better than most. And you know, it's pretty light. So actually when it's stopped and you're like turning around, it is way easier to like turn it around on a road or like after you park than a typical motorbike or scooter. Nextly, yeah, I would also talk about like, you know, the braking is much more consistent than on most of those rented bikes that are, you know, really not maintained very well. It's like really, really like consistent, smooth. So let's talk next about storage and ergonomics. So there's actually a really big compartment here. So I use a MacBook Air. It has screens 13.3 inches, I believe. It cannot fit in Scoopy in any way, shape, or form. This one, not only can I put my MacBook Air, but I can even put like a 15 or 16 inch touchscreen device I have. So it's really big. I think I'll have to show you later. So that's big. The front panel is really practical. The seat is a bit higher than a typical Scoopy. I had a friend sit on it who's a little bit shorter than me and was surprised at how high it is. But, you know, honestly, it's more safe when you're higher because you can see ahead, you can see in front. So that's all good, I think. Yeah, also, from a practicality perspective, you got this like, this also. Honestly, it's not secure, so I wouldn't put anything valuable in there. And I don't know if you can see that. You cannot see it. But it's pretty decent place to put stuff. It has a pocket on the right side. The left side's kind of useless because things will just fall off. And the back seat is really, really wide. It's really comfortable for pinions, right? Passengers on the back. So it's much more comfortable than a Scoopy or whatever. Next, ride quality and build. So, you know, basically it's majority of it's plastic. Like that is a fact. And most, you know, most Japanese scooters are majority metal. So I will say when you're riding on like really bumpy road, you know, you hear all the cracks. I mean, not cracks, but like all the plastic, like kind of like shaking around and stuff. So that sucks. That sucks. But the good thing is when you're riding on a smooth road, like smooth road and no crazy construction on it. I mean, this thing is like riding on a magic carpet. It is no sound. It is so smooth. There's no boop, 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 boop from the engine. It is like you're just floating along. It's like meditation and movement. It is so cool. It is really, really cool. So that's a good thing. And in fact, one of the downsides of like Teslas and stuff is sometimes people, like passengers people on the road won't hear it because there's no engine sound. So I actually play music. And honestly, it's so cool to be playing music and no sound. It's just peace and music compared to like listening to a bloody like pile driver, which is a typical motorcycle. All right, next I'm going to talk about the battery and measurement of the battery. So, you know, it's got 5 bars on it and like how much battery you have. And I would say like it doesn't seem very accurate. So like I've driven like 20 or so kilometers and it still says 5 bars, which is no way. So it's not very reliable. And you may be worried about when you get down low on the battery, what happens. So I have experienced that once. And basically the bike gets really slow. But, you know, it wasn't a big deal. And honestly, 60 kilometers is enough for me to come back and charge overnight. So all in all, no big issue for me. Let's see, gears. Yeah, so, you know, most bikes that you rent are automatics. This one they call semi-automatic. So on the right side here, this red button has a 1, 2, and a 3. So this is really weird. There's no manual that really explains how the gears work. It's really logical that you start with first and you go to second, go to third. Like, that's how a car goes. But in fact, I had a seller who told me fake information, told me like, it's the opposite, you should start in third. This is the biggest difference if you are riding a normal scooter and you're changing this, is like the torque curve. So, you know, you've got tons of torque when the engine first comes on, which, you know, can be a little surprising or scary for when, you know, the first few days when you got it. Like, meaning like if you put it on and you too quickly turn the accelerator, like it could go really, really, you know, pop a wheelie, man. But, you know, all in all, and then a friend of mine drove it, and also another issue is like, there's like a bit of a gap between like no power and a little bit of power. So, you know, you're trying to get it to go, it's not going, and then bang. So that takes a little bit getting used to. And then, you know, you start in first, you do start in first, and when you get up to like 40 or 50 kilometers, say 40 kilometers, you want more like acceleration in the mid-range, you go to second gear and then the third. So it's basically like a car, so no big deal there. And it's semi-automatic, you don't need to press in any like clutch or anything, just flip the switch. All right, so I'm just gonna summarize it, like end it here. I love this thing. I think from the benefits, the big strengths, cost of ownership is awesome. Cost per kilometer and the purchase price is so smooth and relaxing when you've got a smooth road. The weaknesses, you know, when you got a bumpy road, it's really rattly, plasticky. And then, you know, there's this big unknown about the battery replacement. That's it for now. I hope you got a lot of information in a little amount of time, because I spent hours and hours and hours and hours researching and basically got no information. So hopefully that's useful. If you do, yeah, you know, like up, thing, the thumbs up. And I'm gonna do another video about, because I'm gonna totally customize this thing, like totally, completely, which I've done with every car I've ever owned. And so maybe next time I'll do one on customizing. You won't recognize this machine next time I show you. And I'm also going to do a little video on doing e-commerce here and like buying stuff on like Shopee and Tokopedia and Lazada and stuff. Like I've made about 500 purchases, and oh my god, the different experiences are totally different in terms of the credit cards, the user experience, the delivery time. So I think I'll try to share some knowledge on that as well. Yeah, that's it for now. Peace out.